Hello everyone, welcome back to Python and Pandas tutorial series. In this video, we will start with object-oriented programming concepts in Python. So we call this in short as OOP or OOPS. So OOP stands for Object-Oriented Programming, and it is a programming paradigm based on the real-world objects. Unlike the procedural programming, where we write some functions and execute them sequentially, object-oriented programming is based on objects. So it helps in organizing code and making it more reusable. For example, just think of some real-world objects like cars, mobiles, phones. All these are objects or even persons also. Each of these objects has some properties. Maybe like if we take some person object, we have name, age, like that. And each object may have some actions as well. Like person can walk, person can talk, etc. This approach of object oriented programming makes our programs more structured and reusable. And Python is object oriented language by default. And if we talk about the key concepts which we discuss or which we have in OOPS is one is classes and objects, and we have inheritance, data abstraction, polymorphism, and encapsulation. We will discuss all these, but in this video, let us start with key concepts called classes and objects. So simply speaking, a class is a blueprint of creating some objects, and we refer object as some instance of a class, and we will discuss about a constructor or init method, and we will discuss about a self parameter, and we will talk about attributes and methods. Let us start with defining a class in Python. So open Visual Studio Code and we will create a class in a new file. Create a new file and name this as class and object demo. So in Python, a class is defined using a special keyword called class, followed by the name of the class. So let us create a new class now. We have to use a keyword called class followed by the name of the class. So here car is the name of the class. And as of now, let us not do anything with class. So I simply create a class, but if we don't provide any body, we will see some error. It will not allow us. So for now, we just pass this. If you remember the keyword pass, which changes the flow, I mean in the control statements we have read about pass. So it is a placeholder so that we avoid this error now. So this is a simple class now we have, and class car is not doing anything yet. Let us now create and see how object will be, right? So now we will be creating an object for the class car. We can call an object simply as an instance of a class. So here we have car as a class, and we will be creating an instance, maybe car1, and assign that with a class instance, right? So this is how we create object by providing the name of the car followed by parenthesis. We will see more about this as well. For now, car1 is an instance, or we call this as an object of class car. And if we try printing just car1 here, we can see Python creates some unique identifier for this car1 object, which is some unique memory location. Let us see this once. Clear the console and run the file Python class and object demo. If you see this, this is the car1 object created at this memory location, right? But we don't have anything in car to perform something. So we will add some properties to our car. So in Python or in real world also, as we discussed, an object may have some properties and behavior, right? So properties we give those in the form of attributes in Python, and behavior we will provide those in the form of methods in for the object, and we provide all those inside the class definition. And to give our object some properties, we need to use some special method called constructor. So in Python we have one special method which is init method, which is called a constructor also, and we will see how to do the how to use that. Before going to discuss about init or constructor, let us see about some special keyword called self. So we have something in Python called self. So what self does in Python is it represents the current instance of the class, and it allows us to access and modify objects attributes. And self should be a first parameter in any instance method, including the init method. And whenever we call some method on an object, which we will see in some time, the self will be passed automatically. So just think self as a reference to the current object. Whenever we create an object, Python automatically passes it to the class methods, and it helps us differentiate between different objects also. So let us see by creating a constructor in which we take some attributes so that those acts as properties of the class, and we will see about self also. So now it's time to remove this pass, and here we will define a special method as we discussed, which is init. See, this is the init method, which is constructor, and we already got self by default. And if we have some instance members, maybe some properties for that class, we can provide here. So maybe a car has a brand, and it may have some model and the make year also. So inside the body of self, we can assign this instance's brand with the brand provided by user. Alright, so self refers to the current instance. So whenever we create some instance for this class, user will be passing brand model year. So that current instance, the instance on which we are creating, or the instance which is being created, that instance's brand will be assigned with the value which is provided by user. And similarly, self dot model will be the actual model user provides, and self dot year will be the year provided by the user. So this is how we write a constructor, and we just have written a constructor for our car class. Now if we want to create an instance, right, we can create any number of instances. So we just modify our existing car by providing some real values, maybe Toyota, and the model will be maybe Corolla, and year maybe 2022 model. Okay, so these are the values which I am using to create a car object. So now we can think like car 1 is a car object, and its properties are model is Corolla and brand is Toyota, and year make year is 2022. Alright, and we will use a dot operator like this, self dot. So a dot operator can be used whenever you are assigning some instances properties, and whenever we are accessing the instance properties also. So we will try printing car1 object by car1 dot brand, followed by car1 dot model and car1 dot year. Simply we just see printing these values. If you run this, you will see now Toyota Corolla and 2022. If you create an other instance for car and name that as car 2, and this might be Honda and Civic, let us keep the model as 2022. And if you want to print this, you can do in the similar way, car2 dot year, car2 dot model, and car2 dot brand. And if you run this again, we see both objects values are printed over here. So now car 1 stores the brand as Toyota, model as Corolla and year as 2022. Similarly, car 2 stores the brand as Honda and the model as Civic and the year as 2022. And we can create any number of objects for car, and those will have different set of attributes. Now let us see adding some method to our car class, right? So whenever we want to provide the behavior for a class or object, we will be doing that using the methods inside class. So in the class definition itself, create another method called maybe start engine, right? So this is a method, and make sure to provide the self parameter for any method in class, because that is required, because that is going to confirm or provide such information. Okay, this is related to self instance, that particular instance. And in this method I am calling, or we will print something like brand and model is started like that. So self dot, we provide brand and put some space, self dot model is started and running like this, right? So now we have some properties as well as some methods, one method in this example. Now let us see calling the method on some object. We have two instances, car1 and car2, and let us call our start engine method on car1 and see what happens. If you see, the Toyota Corolla is started and running. Similarly, you can call the method on second object as well, and you will see different line because the values of object 2 are Honda and Civic. See, we have Toyota Corolla is started and running. Similarly, Honda Civic is started and running. So we just added a method called start engine, and now our car object can do something, right? So if we call this method, that car starts. So if we want to modify attributes of a particular object, how can we do that? Means it is done simply by using the dot operator again and reassigning the values. For example, for car 2's year, I want to reassign 2024. Okay, and if I print car 2 values again, you will see the new value will be used. See, in the last line Honda Civic, because it is car 2's values, and 2024 is printed now instead of 2022, which is assigned while creating the object. So you can think like objects are mutable, meaning we can modify their attributes at any time we want. This flexibility actually makes object-oriented programming powerful for building real-world applications also. So this is about creating class and using constructor, self, parameter, and how we can create object and calling methods using objects and modifying the attributes. Just to recap the concepts we discussed in this video, we talked about class. It is a blueprint of some objects, and an object is actually the real-time instance of the class, and attributes means the variables that stores some properties of that objects, as we have seen. And we used methods. These are the functions inside a class, those are defining some behavior for that class. And we discussed about the init function, which is a constructor. It initializes the object's attributes. And make sure to provide self, which represents the current instance of the class. And we also saw how to modify attributes of some object. And in the next video, we will see more object-oriented programming concept. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.